At a corner table in a restaurant in Malone, Ben Stiller explains why he's making a miniseries about the prison break that sent our region into a tailspin in 2015.
I just think it's a fascinating story about people, human beings. I mean, the genre of a prison break is obviously, a very cinematic thing, which is something I never did before as a director, so that was exciting to me.
But Stiller says he understands when Richard Matt and David Sweat broke out of Clinton Correctional, it was a frightening time in these parts. Two murderers with nothing to lose on the loose. Stiller says the story, at its heart, is about relationships. The setting just happens to be a prison.
From the corrections officers' dilemma of having to go into this very stressful situation every day to work, to what the inmates deal with, to what the civilian workers who go there and whose livelihoods are based on working at these places, and of course the manipulation that was happening from Richard Matt and David Sweat in terms of what what they needed to have people do for them to be able to do what they did.
What they did was carve a hole in the back of the cell, get onto the catwalks, and into the underbelly of the prison. Stiller says that is what surprises him most about the story.
How David Sweat was even able to figure his way around underneath the prison to get his bearings, to understand where he was. It was fascinating to me. How intricate the work was in terms of having to every night, go through the hole in the back of their cells, do their work, come back, and then replace the grate that they cut out, put putty around it, tape, paint it every night. How exhausting that must have been for 4 months or whatever it was that they were doing that.
All to snake through a steam pipe and eventually pop out of a manhole on the street to freedom.
It's not a cut and dry sort of thing in terms of how this happened. And I'm hoping to just show that, and that people will feel like at least it's portrayed in a realistic way.
Which is why Stiller says he and his team have been researching for more than a year, reading the Inspector General's report, talking to as many people involved as possible, and why they have this man as their technical advisor. You may remember him like this, as Major Charles Guess, the man in charge of the 22-day search through the Adirondacks, leading nearly 2,000 officers as they hunted the escapees down in the wet woods of the Adirondacks, eventually killing Richard Matt and capturing David Sweat.
And it's been really helpful to me, to be able to talk to corrections officers up here and families of people who work at the prisons and have gone through this experience, went through the manhunt and the stress of that.
Stiller's production team totals a couple hundred people. They fill the back room at Donovan's restaurant for a meeting. It's down to the wire now. Production starts Tuesday. It lasts through September here, then moves to a spot outside New York City and eventually to a decommissioned prison in Pittsburgh to shoot inside. They'll be back in the Champlain Valley in the winter for the final filming.
It was very important for me to try to portray as much of the reality as possible.
So many of the extras in the series are local people who got parts through an open casting call. And for those concerned about how Stiller will portray the North Country, he says he'll be respectful but honest.
There's some guys who screwed up. There's some guys who were just doing their job. There were some guys who should have been doing a better job. This is what the inmates do, and this is how you have to react to it. And look at the whole thing and say, okay, this is a realistic story, and I get that.
Stiller gets that it's complicated for Hollywood to stir up the questions and concerns surrounding such a frightening time for the region, but says he's doing everything possible to do this story justice.